Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real quick. Age ain't a barrier, baby. It's a blessing. And when you know how to carry it, when you know how to wear it, when you walk into a room with presence, let me tell you, heads will turn. See, a lot of women think men don't notice them as they get older. That's just not true. Men notice confidence. Men notice class. And believe it or not, men notice color. That's right. The colors you wear don't just sit on your skin. They speak. They say something. They tell the room, here I am. So today I'm going to break down 8 colors that'll make any man stop what he's doing and pay attention, especially when it's a grown woman rocking them. Color speaks louder than words. Wear confidence, not just fabric. Every time a woman steps out into the world, she's telling a story. And that story starts with what she puts on her body. The colors she chooses aren't just about matching shoes or finding something flattering. No, it's deeper than that. The colors you wear carry a message. They speak before you even say a word. And when you're a grown woman, that message becomes even more powerful because it's backed by experience, wisdom, and truth. You see, men don't just notice beauty. Beauty is everywhere. But confidence, that's rare. Confidence catches the eye and holds it. And one of the simplest ways to show confidence is through color. Color that says, I know who I am. Color that says, I've lived, I've learned, I've grown. Visible, you're vibrant. There's something magnetic about a woman who dresses with purpose. And when she chooses colors that light her up from the inside out, men notice. It's not because she's trying to impress them. It's because she's owning who she is. A red blazer doesn't just make a statement. It becomes a reflection of her fire. A deep blue dress doesn't just look good. It reveals her calm strength. Every shade becomes an extension of her essence. And that essence draws attention in a way no trendy outfit or expensive label ever could. When you wear confidence, the room shifts. People feel your energy before you speak. They sense your power without needing to understand it. That's what color can do. It can become the amplifier of your soul, the amplifier of your soul. It gives your presence volume. And for the older woman who's been told to blend in, to dim her light, to dress her age, color becomes an act of rebellion, a declaration, a celebration. It says, I am not invisible. I am not done. I am more alive now than I've ever been. There's a boldness in wearing color with pride. It's not about following fashion rules. It's about writing your own. Because confidence doesn't come from how much skin you show. It comes from how much of yourself you reveal through the choices you make. The colors you wear can carry your journey, your scars, your triumphs. They can whisper strength, shout resilience, and echo grace. So every time you stand in front of your closet, you're not just picking an outfit. You're picking a message. You're picking the way, and when you choose color with heart, you're choosing to be unforgettable. Blue red commands attention and signals bold, unapologetic power. It's not just a color, it's a statement, a presence, a vibration that enters the room before you do. When a woman wears red, she's not asking to be noticed, she's declaring that she will be. There's something about red that reaches into the atmosphere and shifts it, turns heads, stops conversation, makes people take a second look. And for an older woman, red becomes more than fashion. It becomes a symbol of her refusal to fade into the background. You don't put on red by accident. You put on red when you're ready to be seen. When you've done the work on yourself, when you've moved past needing approval, and you stepped into knowing your worth. Red is not for the faint-hearted. It's for the woman who has nothing to prove but plenty to say. She doesn't need to shout, but when she wears red, the world listens. She's been through seasons, heartbreaks, victories, transformations, and when she puts on that color, it reflects all of that back in one fierce, unforgettable package. Red has always been the color of fire, of passion, of leadership, of unstoppable energy. It doesn't whisper or ask for permission. And that's why it stands out. A red dress on a young girl might be seen as bold or playful, but on a grown woman is something different. It's layered with meaning. It's not just about beauty, it's about presence. A red suit on a woman over 40 doesn't just say she's stylish, it says she owns the room, she owns her time, she owns her experience. She's not waiting to be invited in, she is the event. Men notice red because it represents something they respect deep down, power, and not power in a cold, hard way, but that warm, burning, feminine power that stands on its own. A woman in red looks like she's got her own back, like she makes decisions with intention, like she's living out loud without apology. That's attractive in any age, but especially when it comes from a woman who has earned her identity. Red also wakes something up inside the woman wearing it. It brings energy, it lifts the shoulders, straightens the back, adds that little sway in the walk. Red has a way of reminding you of your own fire. It's not just about how others see you, it's about how you feel in your own skin. That's what makes it magnetic. That's what makes it powerful. It's not loud for the sake of noise. It's loud because it carries a story that demands to be seen and a spirit that refuses to be silenced. When a woman walks in wearing red, it's not the fabric people see first. It's the confidence, it's the decision. It's the message underneath that says, I've arrived, I'm not afraid, and I will not shrink. White reflects peace, elegance, and spiritual strength. It's the color of quiet confidence, the kind of beauty that doesn't need to sparkle to be seen. When a woman wears white, she doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. She's not there to compete or to perform. She's there to simply be, and that's more than enough. White is the color of clarity, of wisdom, of grace that's been earned through years of living, through battles won in silence, through storms weathered with poise. It doesn't demand attention, and yet it always receives it because there's power in stillness. And white carries that power with dignity. There's something deeply striking about a grown woman in white. It shows every detail, the curve of the shoulders, the line of the posture, the subtle movement of the body. And in that openness, there's no room to hide. And she doesn't need to. A woman who wears white is a woman who is not afraid of being seen clearly. She's past the phase of pretending. She's moved into the season where authenticity is her best. White mirrors that. It symbolizes a clean slate, not because her past doesn't exist, but because she's made peace with it. She's not dragging baggage, she's carrying lessons. White also carries a certain richness, not the kind you can buy, but the kind you grow into. It's the richness of knowing your worth, the richness of valuing peace over chaos, calm over drama, depth over noise. When a man sees a woman in white, he sees simplicity wrapped in strength. It doesn't scream for his gaze, but it draws it all the same. Because in a world full of distraction and flash, white is rare. And anything rare becomes precious. There's also an unshakable elegance that comes with white. Whether it's a crisp button-down blouse, a soft sweater, or a flowing dress, white elevates whatever it touches. It doesn't need heavy accessories or loud makeup. It's enough all by itself. And that's exactly what makes it powerful. Just like the woman who wears it, White stands alone and holds its own. It reflects light, and in doing so, it reminds others to bring their own. There's no hiding behind patterns or prints, just presence, just truth. Wearing white is a choice that says you've made peace with who you are. You're not here to relive the past or chase what's gone. You're here to walk in alignment with the woman you've become. And when you show up like that, calm, composed, whole, people take notice. Men notice. Not because you're the loudest in the room, but because you're the most centered. There's something magnetic about that, something deeply attractive about a woman who doesn't need to talk over others to be heard, who doesn't need to prove she belongs, she just does. And white becomes the perfect reflection of that silent, sacred strength. Emerald green symbolizes growth, depth, and regal energy. It's not the kind of color you see every day, but when you do, it has a way of standing out without shouting. It draws the eye in slowly, not with flash, but with richness. There's a natural royalty in emerald, a quiet, earthy luxury that speaks of someone who knows her value without needing to advertise it. When a woman wears emerald green, she steps into a space of grace that has roots. She's not flashy, she's grounded. And that groundedness commands attention in a way that trends never could. Emerald green sits between bold and subtle. It's deep without being dark, rich without being loud. It reminds people of nature, of life, of something real and thriving. And when a woman wears it, especially a woman who has lived through seasons of change, it reflects that same spirit back to the world. She has bloomed through her winters, stood tall through storms, and learned how to grow in silence. Emerald captures that experience and wraps it in elegance. It's not just beautiful, it's meaningful. There's something about this color that makes people look twice. Not because it's loud, but because it's different. It holds a kind of mystery. You don't always know what it is at first, but you feel it. A woman in emerald green doesn't just look good, she feels like something important. She looks like she's made peace with herself. She walks like she's earned her place. And that sense of inner wealth, that personal stability, shows up in how the color moves with her. Men notice that kind of energy. They may not always understand it, but they recognize that it's something rare. A woman in emerald green doesn't look like she's seeking approval. She looks like she's honoring herself. She looks like someone who has taken the time to know who she is, what she stands for, and what she will no longer tolerate. And that kind of self-awareness is magnetic. That kind of energy makes people stop and wonder what her story is. Emerald also has a healing tone to it. It's the color of the heart chakra, the place of love, compassion, and truth. So when a woman chooses to wear it, whether consciously or not, she's tapping into that energy. She's putting on more than fabric. She's putting on a frequency that speaks of balance, maturity, and wisdom. It's not youthful in the sense of being trendy, but it's vibrant in the way that only life experience can make someone glow. This color doesn't ask for attention, it earns it. It reflects a woman who has spent time becoming, who carries herself with a presence that only comes from inner peace. She's not trying to be someone else. She's standing fully in her own skin. And emerald green wraps her in a confidence that's been built, not borrowed. It tells the room she's not just passing through, she belongs there. Fully, completely, unapologetically, black is timeless. It radiates authority and quiet confidence. Doesn't beg for attention. It doesn't chase the spotlight, yet it owns every room it enters. Black is not about hiding. It's about standing strong in your identity without needing approval. When a woman wears black, especially a woman of experience, she's not dressing to impress. She's dressing in alignment with who she is. She's saying, I've lived, I've learned, and I carry that with strength. There's a certain kind of elegance black gives that no other color quite matches. It's understated but undeniable, simple yet significant, minimal but mighty. There's a reason black is always in fashion. It's not because it's safe, but because it's powerful. It strips away distraction. It focuses attention. It allows the person wearing it to speak without noise. A woman in black doesn't need sparkle to shine. Her shine comes from the way she carries herself, the way she stands, the way she speaks, the calm in her eyes, the assurance in her silence. Black becomes the canvas and she becomes the masterpiece. It's a partnership between color and character where both complement each other beautifully. When a woman chooses black, especially in her mature years, it says something deeper. It says she knows what suits her. It says she's focused on what matters. She's refined. She's intentional. She doesn't waste energy trying to prove anything to anyone because she's already proven it to herself. That kind of inner clarity is rare, and black mirrors it perfectly. It doesn't scream for validation. It reflects discipline, direction, and determination. Men notice black not because it's loud, but because it's composed. They notice the contrast to calm power. In a world full of color and chaos, black is the pause. It's the punctuation mark in a sentence. It's the moment where attention sharpens. A woman in black holds space in a way that doesn't feel forced. She becomes the anchor in the room, the one who seems unshakable even when she says nothing. And that kind of presence isn't just attractive, it's unforgettable. There's also something deeply versatile about black. It can be professional, romantic, casual, or formal, but it always feels complete. It adapts to the moment while never losing its essence. That mirrors the life of a strong woman, one who has learned how to navigate change, how to show up in every season with her core intact. She may change roles, environments, or circumstances, but her foundation stays solid. Black supports that. It lets her be everything she is without distraction. It's also a color of protection and mystery. Not everyone gets to see everything at once. There's a sense that you have to earn the layers, understand the depth, appreciate the subtlety. And that's exactly how many mature women choose to move through life. They don't offer everything to everyone. They reveal truth with wisdom, love with discernment, and power with restraint. Black becomes the perfect reflection of that balance between openness and boundaries. It dresses her strength, her grace, and her story without ever needing to say a word. Gold and mustard yellow express earned joy and radiant presence. These are not colors you wear when you're trying to blend in. These are colors that say you've lived through storms and still chose to shine. When a woman puts on gold or deep yellow, she's telling the world that her light isn't borrowed, it's built from within. These shades don't just represent brightness on the outside, they reflect an inner warmth, a spirit that has been refined through time, resilience, and deep self-awareness. They're a celebration of survival, of self-love, of stepping into the light after walking through the shadows. Gold in particular carries the energy of achievement. It's the color of value, of richness, not just in material terms, but in experience. A woman who wears gold doesn't need to announce her worth. The color does it for her. It shows up as elegance, as pride, as a kind of glow that no filter or product can fake. When she wears it, she's wearing her journey, her transformation, and her dignity. Gold becomes the armor of a woman who knows what she's overcome. And now she walks with grace and gratitude instead of fear or apology. Mustard yellow brings a slightly different tone. It's grounded and earthy, yet bold and expressive. It doesn't scream for attention like neon, but it still draws the eye with warmth and depth. It's the kind of yellow that feels like sunshine in the middle of real life. Not the fantasy version, but the version that includes work, struggle, loss, healing, and finally acceptance. When a woman wears mustard yellow, it reflects a grounded happiness. Not the shallow kind that comes and goes, but the kind that comes from within, rooted in purpose and peace. Men notice these colors because they're not typical. They're mature, bold, and regal all at once. There's something about a woman wearing gold or mustard that suggests confidence without arrogance, radiance without needing attention. These colors feel alive, just like the woman who wears them. She doesn't need to wear youth, she wears power, and that power is magnetic. Not the kind that seeks validation, but the kind that naturally draws respect. There's energy in these colors, and that energy tells a story of light that wasn't given, it was earned. There's also something deeply feminine and nurturing about these tones. Gold and yellow carry the warmth of the sun, the light of fire, the richness of harvest. They represent a life that's full, meaningful, and shared with intention. A woman in these colors often carries a smile that doesn't come from flattery, but from fulfillment. She's not trying to turn heads. She's simply showing up in her full, glorious self. And that's what makes these colors powerful. They celebrate her, honor her, and mirror the light she already carries. They remind others and herself that she has the right to shine, to stand out, and to own every part of her brilliance without hesitation or apology. Royal blue represents intelligence, emotional control, and high-class elegance. It's the kind of color that doesn't chase trends, but sets its own tone, calm and composed with just enough depth to spark curiosity. When a woman chooses royal blue, she's not trying to outshine anyone. She's simply showing up in her strength. And that strength has a quiet authority. It's not aggressive, it's not loud, but it's unmistakably powerful. This color carries a sense of wisdom, as if it knows things others are still figuring out. And when a grown woman wears it, that message becomes even more striking. Royal blue speaks to clarity. It doesn't blur or confuse, it brings focus. A woman who wears this color often carries herself with precision. She's thought through her words, weighed her emotions, and chosen peace over drama. That sense of balance reflects in the color she wears. It's not just about looking polished, it's about feeling centered. And when she walks into a room, people feel it. They don't always know why they're drawn to her, but it's because she radiates control, grace, and emotional maturity, the kind that only comes from deep self-awareness and growth. Men pick up on this energy, whether they realize it or not. Royal blue doesn't come across as flirtatious or provocative. It comes across as strong, steady, and composed. It says this woman knows who she is. There's no chaos, no over-explaining, no need to prove anything. A man sees that and is instinctively intrigued because that kind of grounded presence is rare. It's rare to find someone who's not trying to be more or less, just entirely themselves. That's what royal blue communicates, that full ownership of identity without apology or disguise. There's also an elegance to royal blue that feels expensive without trying too hard. It doesn't need sequins, glitter, or exaggerated designs. It holds its own through simplicity. A blouse, a coat, a scarf, even the smallest touch of royal blue elevates the entire outfit. It makes people look again, not because it shouts for attention, but because it carries dignity. That's the kind of color that pairs perfectly with a woman who has done the inner work, who has moved from insecurity to confidence, from chasing love to walking in self-respect. Royal blue also reflects calm under pressure. It's the color of clear skies, of deep oceans, vast, steady, and unwavering. It mirrors emotional intelligence, the ability to feel deeply without losing composure, the ability to hold space for others while staying rooted in your own truth. When a woman wears royal blue, she's wearing her ability to navigate life's complexity with grace. It shows she's not afraid of depth, of conversation, of authenticity. It shows she listens more than she speaks, but when she speaks, people listen. The color becomes a visual cue for substance, for character, for presence that doesn't have to announce itself to be known. It draws attention not through boldness, but through the quiet strength of someone who has nothing to prove and everything to give.